we talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin', and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. Here we go now. I'm talking about Mr. Gulley, and you don't know where he's been. Oh no, he's been right in your alley. Well, I'm Mr. Gulley, yes I am. So what we talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin', and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. Ooh. One, two, three, four. They call me Mr. Gulley. I've got something for your ear. Now it might sound kind of funny, but I'll make it very clear. So what we talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin', and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. Here we go now. I'm talking about Mr. Gulley, and you don't know where he's been. Oh no, he's been right in your alley. Well, I'm Mr. Gulley, yes I am. So what we talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin', and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. Ooh.
Hey, everybody. What's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What is shaking on your Sunday afternoon? Welcome to this members-only exclusive episode of the Tom Gulley Show in our quest to get viewers on a smaller and smaller basis. I says to myself, hey, you know what? Why don't I do a show at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday at the beginning of springtime? That's got to be a time when people are available, right? You know, there's probably a lot of people just hanging around on a Sunday at 4 o'clock. No, probably they're all off doing things and enjoying their weekend. So that's a great time for nobody to watch the show. Oh, boy. The subject of today's show, sorry, I'm so used to doing it at night. It's just... Subject of today's show is I'm super tired. I just got up from a nap and I went, oh, God, I got to do a members only. These people are paying for a membership for some reason. I have no idea what. But I got to do a show of some kind, or it just doesn't make sense to be a member. Is what bothers you? What bugs you? What sticks in your craw? And it's members only. So this isn't for the world, you know. We the inside group here can talk. You know, just us kids. Just us. We few, we brave few, we band of brothers and sisters can talk about what bugs us. I was going to make a list, and as I started making the list, I says to myself, you know, Tom, you don't need a list. There's enough stuff that bugs you. You can just off the top of your head come up with 10 or 15 of them. So, you know, here, these are just like absolutely unnecessary. Gullerinos, assemble. We got to bring that back. We really got to bring that back. As well as we really have to bring back Cobra Kai, because that's a thing. Cobra Kai. Yeah, what bugs you? Let me know and we'll talk about it. I could put that in a crawl probably. I can make one right here on screen, live right in front of you. Right in front of everybody. I'm waiting for something to happen first here. And the thing that I'm waiting to happen for has happened. It's actually happened. What do you think about that? Banners. Let me create a banner. What bugs you? What sticks in your... Well, let me put that in quotation marks. See, a little peek behind the window here. Sticks in your craw. There we go. 972 994 6822 is the number to call. There. Oh, wow, I got a call yesterday. It just says excellent work. Well, hold on here. Let's see. Let me add this banner. We'll put the banner on there, and I can remove the other thing. There you go. Yeah, I think that's pretty big. If I wanted to, I could edit that and make it a scroll. I kind of like that, though. I don't do that very often. Now it's not letting me. Let me just add that banner. I said add banner. Okay, let me do this. What in the name of Jehoshaphat P. Quim? I just did this. This is going to be the first thing. Okay, here we go. There we go. I'm going to call this number back. It says excellent work. Hold on, I gotta raise the volume of the show. When I go to my phone line, it for some reason lowers the volume of the whole show by 7%. I can't have that. You know what? That really sticks in my craw. We won't have that. Can't have that here. All right, excellent work. Let me call this number and see if I get anybody. They can't be too upset. I mean, they called me. Why shouldn't I call them back? It says it's ringing. I don't hear it ringing. It's ringing. It's probably one of those disposable phone numbers. So I'm calling it. And We'll see if I get anybody. Maybe they just wanted to text me or something. I don't know. Doesn't seem to be getting an answer. Wonder why that's not making any noise. Hi, who am I speaking with? I got a note from you that said excellent work. It's the Tom Gulley Show.
Oh, yeah. Boy, you got a great voice.
Well, thank
It
you.
really comes out of the telephone.
Well, you're on the air. You're on the air right now. So.
Oh, great. Okay, I'll make it quick then. You're on the air live right now?
Live. Well, I don't know if it's technically live, but
Yeah, because I'm in Pacific Northwest. Listen, I've been a huge Lenny Bruce fan since I was 15. I went and got all the books that I could get and all the records, and I've listened to other people talk about Lenny Bruce as a subject that I have just never seen anybody who's done obviously such research and presented so incredibly well. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
well, thank you, man. That you don't know how much I appreciate that. That is really awesome. Have you read the Albert Goldman book?
Oh yeah. See, when I was in, I went to a garage sale, and when I was 15, and I found How to Talk Dirty and Influence People, and I thought it would be just kind of titillating or whatever. So I got the book and sat down and read the whole thing in one sitting. And I go to the librarian at the high school, and I said, do you have any books by or about Lenny Bruce? She pulls me aside. She says, I got some books for the, some teacher's sociological class on comedians. She said, I can't present this book to him, but I'm reading it right now, and when I'm done, I'll loan it to you. And that's how that started. And then it was just a matter of going to, record stores in Palo Alto, California, and just I got pretty much every, it wasn't until very recently that I've heard stuff that I've never heard before. Because I got all the books and records that I could possibly find over the years.
Well, that Albert Goldman book goes into such detail. It's so deep. And there's the documentary I watched the other day. There's several actually documentaries. I didn't realize how many had been done. The one that was done in 1998, when his ex-wife was still alive and a lot of people were still alive, called Lenny Bruce. What is it called? It's called Speak the Truth or something like that. It is so good.
Yeah. I saw that last night. I was able to find it on an app that you can get like new movies on, and that's where I found it. And I just saw it. It was incredible.
It's Swear to Tell the Truth, and it's on like Plex or something like that for free. And man, it's amazing. It's really amazing. Robert De Niro narrates it and stuff. It's so very, very good. Well, man, I don't want to kind of ambushed you here on a Sunday afternoon. I really want to thank you because, doing a show like this, when people say that they really liked one of the shows, it's very, 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 very gratifying. So thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like a show about? Is there another topic or something? I'll do a deep dive on just about anything.
Off the top of my head, can't really think of anything right now.
Okay.
But I mean, seriously, for somebody who knows as much about Lenny Bruce as I do, and I listen to these other specials, and I just get all bothered because they've got this completely wrong or whatever, and I just your research was obviously incredible. It seemed to me that you personally knew a lot of stuff already for your own interest, and then just the way that you presented it was so incredibly professional and well done and interesting.
Wow. You made my day, man.
I saw the one on Rocky Horror, and and some of the other, a couple of them look interesting to me too.
Oh, cool, cool. Well, thank you. That's the best compliment anybody's ever paid me about this show. So, you know, just if you ever pop into the chat room while we're live, just give me a shout out and say, "Hey, I'm the guy that liked Lenny Bruce," and I'll remember who you are. And
it's just so refreshing for me because I mean, he died when I was 4 years old, and of course, none of my friends were into him. I turned on, I played a couple of the records for some of my friends, but I don't think, people can completely appreciate what it is that he did, and just, it made me emotional watching Swear to Tell the Truth because it really did show that, he had such faith in America and the legal system. That he couldn't give up, because
people forget he served during World War II. I mean, they think of him as this sort of counterculture beatnik anarchist. And it's like, well, maybe, but he served in the military during World War II. So he did have a deep sense of America. And it is tough to play some of the records because there's some tracks like Religions Incorporated. You can play that one for people and they kind of get it because it's a little bit more like George Carlin or something. But a lot of it is philosophy. It's not as comedic maybe as they would like. And so I think in popular culture, people say the words Lenny Bruce to seem hip and cool, but they really don't understand, number one, what he was all about, and number two, how many times he went to jail for your right to, have free speech. So
I love that line, when he was talking to Paul Krasner, and he said, hey, I noticed that, I remember you said that a comedian should get a laugh, like every 5 to 12 seconds, and I noticed you're not doing that. And of course, this is near the end. He said, I noticed you're not doing that. He said, well, I'm changing. I said, what do you mean? And he said he really thought about it for a moment, and he said, I'm not a comedian. I'm Lenny Bruce.
Yes.
And his realization, he really was an incredibly intelligent person.
Gosh.
And I tell people, every time I get the opportunity, he really ended up, and that really was only a 5-year career, basically, talking about pretty much everything that you can talk about.
Yes.
And, that's why the Curran Theater record, the Curran Theater rest is my favorite of them all. Now, Carnegie Hall was very professional, but Curran Theaters, because it was really just, it was an undersell. It was like, there was only like 300 people there.
Yeah.
And so he just said, well, screw it. He said, yeah, I wasn't going to tell you this, but I really love you. I don't want to do bits anymore. And he didn't. He floated a couple of the new, new things that he was thinking of, and that was like the beginning of Christ and Moses, which is an incredible bit.
Yeah.
And and it was just him doing it how he really wanted to do it, which was just free form all the way.
Yeah, and that's the other thing people don't realize. He started performing in the late 40s. So by the time he really sort of decided to make that change, it's almost like George Carlin mimicked him in a certain fashion because he was a real straight, regular, wearing a suit comic, and then he changed. And Lenny Bruce was the same way, except for Lenny Bruce had like 15 years of playing the worst dives and nightclubs and things, and he just honed his craft, his ability to perform, and then just changed his messaging, to a different sort of style. So he already had the toolkit, so to speak. And Lenny Bruce is amazing.
The whole performance of Arthur Godfrey, where it all started, and you could really see right then and there that it was already there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. Well, hey man, I'll let you get back to your Sunday, but call in anytime, show up anytime. We'd be glad to have you. And certainly if you think of a topic that you'd like, I guess Skype's only going to be open for another, I don't know, month or something like that. My email is on the YouTube page. Just shoot me an email and I'll do a topic on whatever you want, man.
Oh, hey, thanks a lot, Tom. I just, I really appreciate you calling back. And it was nice, it's nice to be able to talk to somebody who really knows what they're talking about when they're talking about Lenny Bruce. So I really appreciate it.
Right back at you, brother. You have yourself a fine Sunday.
All right, you take care, Tom.
All right, man. Bye-bye. Man, oh man, that made my day. Here I came on. The topic of today's show is members only. And it's what sticks in your craw, what's upsetting you. And lo and behold, this awesome dude from the Pacific Northwest, absolutely makes my day. Absolutely makes my day. I don't even know if we have anybody watching right now. Let me make sure this is set up on YouTube properly. Gotta watch the autoplay on the theme song here. Oh, I caught it just in the nick of time. Oh, dear. I almost don't want to do things that stick in my craw now. Really. Wait a minute. Oh, no, there it is. No, we're live. We're doing it. Members only. We're doing it. We're doing it. I'm not even a member. I'm not even a member. I don't think. Oh, am I? Wait a minute. It's only. We're doing it. We're doing it. Okay. Well, great. I am a member. I'm not even a member. I'm not even. I guess I am a member because I own the channel. It would. Oh man, we got people. We got people. Pepe Silva is here. Says howdy. Rumpled Trenchcoat is here. Says hiya, folks. Hiya, folks. Oh, now we got a show. I don't know if you guys heard that caller. It was just a call that I got yesterday. Sometimes I get call. What is this thing doing? Why is this happening? This is not making me very happy right now. Okay. Remind me later. There we go. I got this. I guess text yesterday. Come on. I got this text yesterday from somebody that really loved the Lenny Bruce show and really knew a lot about Lenny Bruce. I don't know if you guys heard it or not, but man, oh man, that made my day. And I've got this show planned for members only about what sticks in your craw, what's disgruntling you, what mildly annoys you. What mildly annoys me right now is my hair. I got to cut it right after the show, or get it cut or whatever. Let's see. Lenny Bruce, Rumple Trenchcoat. I caught the last 20 seconds, so I'll have to watch it later. Sounded interesting about Lenny Bruce. Well, we did the whole show on Lenny Bruce, and this guy called in because he's a tremendous fan of Lenny Bruce. And I guess I talked to him for maybe 10 minutes, but his, how long did I talk? 10 minutes and 31 seconds, as a matter of fact. And he really knew a lot about Lenny Bruce. I mean, a ton. And so we had a nice conversation about that in the show. And he said, look, I listen to everything about Lenny Bruce. I watch everything about Lenny Bruce. And your show was the best thing I've seen in terms of, somebody doing a live broadcast about him and knowing their stuff. And that was a huge compliment. And to get that call when the show wasn't even on the air, man. And he just left a little message there. That made my day. Made my day. That's great. Yeah, well, Rumpled, probably far better than I, when you do your labor of love to do a show on the YouTube, you might get compliments in certain spaces and certain places. But when you get sort of an unsolicited, off-the-books surprise one, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I don't have to put that banner up. Why is that banner up? Hide that sucker. That's what we're talking about right there. That's what's talking. Leave that up right there. So yeah, I mean, now I was in this disgruntled mood where I was like, I'm going to talk about StreamYard. I'm going to talk about the ice cream guy. I'm going to talk about, and now I'm like, oh, he likes me. He really likes me. He thinks I'm pretty. I can't do it. I can't do it. Or maybe I can. I'm sure any second now I'll be able to do it. It'll only take a few minutes for something to rub me the wrong way. If past history is any guide at all. Where's the piece of paper I had that's got all the stuff we're doing this week on this dog and pony show? Come on, where'd it go to? It's got to be here somewhere. Oh no, I think it's right here. Yeah, it is. I've got so many 3x5 cards with stuff about. I just 10 or 20 more here. I've got it. Maybe I'll organize those later today. Okay, so Monday. That's tomorrow. Maybe the topic can be things we like. Rumpel, you're a man whose wisdom far exceeds mine. Yes. Let me just let's do something very non-Tom Gulley Show right now. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, there we go. That's better. There we go. Wait a minute. That's not what I. Come on, man. Let's hide that. Oh, that's this. What's the thing with the? Oh, there we go. I did it right. There you go. What makes you happy? What pleases you out of nowhere? Okay, so tomorrow night, that's Monday night, for those of you keeping score at home, we are doing the... now Skype's trying to be all, switch over to this. Switch over to that. Do this. Do that. It's too late, Skype. You're abandoning me. Tomorrow night, for those of you keeping score at home, we will be doing the Great San Francisco Earthquake of 1906. And we're doing that because of the Myanmar earthquake that we just had, or Myanmar, or however people like it. Pepe Silva. Hey, Pepe. How you doing, Pepe? Nice to see you. I like that. There we go. Topic, things you like, things that are good. So Monday night, the Great San Francisco Earthquake, 1906. We're doing it because of the Myanmar one. That one in Myanmar, that's how I pronounce it. Some people pronounce it Myanmar. If they would have just kept it Burma, it used to be called Burma. That would have been great. The first sort of pictures that we got about that were in Bangkok. And you saw the buildings falling and the water coming out of the swimming pool and all those various things. Well, guess what? That was 800 miles away from the epicenter of the earthquake. And the strength of that earthquake is almost identical, given the fact that they didn't have as good of measuring tools and things back then as the San Francisco earthquake. So that earthquake, people do not realize how powerful it was back in 1906. We're going to talk about that. Tuesday night will be Richard Pryor. Thursday night will be vampires. Vampires. Yes, vampires. And then Friday night will be pretzels. I'm still waiting to hear back about Wednesday night. I'm angling for a... well, what would be for this show a big get. A big old get for this show. And nothing. Nothing. And if I don't get one by the end of the day Monday, we're just going to not do it. Well, I say that. I'd probably relent. But so I can't even promote it. And that sticks in my craw like, oh, wait a minute. We're not doing that anymore. Rumpled Trenchcoat says, I'm happy that Skype had a 15-year head start on video calls and somehow blew it. Re-record our podcast via Skype call, so we're looking for alternatives. Well, I don't know about what you've got over there, Rumpled Trenchcoat, but as I'm looking at it right now, matter of fact, you guys want to do some crazy magic here? I'll do some crazy magic. Let me do some crazy magic. I'm going to do some crazy magic just for my good friend, Rumpled Trenchcoat. Why? Because that's the way we do here on the Tom Gulley Show. I want to add an image. Mine is giving me, boom, shakalaka. Mine's giving me this. This thing right cha. Okay? It's giving me this. So at the top of my screen, it says, starting in May, Skype will no longer be available. Continue your calls and chats in Teams. And you can click that button and start using Teams. Well, guess what, Skype? I have $4.95 still in my Skype account. I don't want to start using Teams. I might start just a couple of days beforehand. But up until then, my thing is I need the phone number. I want the phone number. I personally believe and am committed to the belief that people will call that phone number more readily than they will do anything else in order to be on the show. And frankly, it's easier for me personally. But yes, 15-year head start. And by the way, why are you getting rid of it? I get that probably there's some administrative that has to happen, you know, in terms of people paying for things and whatnot. But I guess I'll see when I get to Teams, because currently I pay for the phone number. Okay, that's not very expensive. I think the phone number is $6 or $7 a month. And then I pay for unlimited calls, which is like another $3. So it's not bad. They're not stupid. They're putting it at what a landline would cost you these days. Remember when your landline was a lot of money every month? And certainly long distance calls, they made a mint on long distance calls. But maybe long distance phone calls is the topic for the show. Yes. It's funny to me how all calls now, you can just call long distance whenever you want. That used to be a thing, even within your own state. If you were outside of a zone or close to the edge of one and you had to call a town that was only 40 miles away, that was long distance. And you paid a pretty penny for that, ladies and gentlemen. But they're not dumb. They're not pricing it out of the deal. But if they do this conversion, I'm wondering if they will offer the phone number and whether they will do the rest of it. I get it that, there's shows like Rumpled Trenchcoat's show that they do that via Skype. But, I don't know how you're recording it, Rumpled, but you can record. Like, I've had guests on this show over Facebook chat, and I could do it over Teams. I could do it over Zoom for the audio. The video, I don't know how you're doing your video, whether you're using... Well, wait, you guys don't do video on screen, though. Yes, you'd be okay with just the audio. I don't know if you're using Odyssey to record it or you're just on the air live or what you're doing there. But I'm sure you two geniuses will figure it out. For those of you who don't know, I'm not going to dox these fine people, but the folks over at Rumpled Trenchcoat, they both have professions that you've got to be like in the top 1% of thinkers to acquire. They're both really, really, really smart. Rumpled Trenchcoat says, I remember calling a friend who was in the same town but just out of range to count his long distance. Yes, they had these zones set up in weird ways. I just remember when I was at Ball State, it was a long distance call to, get to my home, which was only 60 miles away. And the phones in the dormitories wouldn't place long distance calls. I think there was eventually a way to do it with a calling card or something of that nature, but they were just there and part of your room. You didn't necessarily pay for them or whatever, but they were all local calls. And there was also a thing that a lot of people have called local measured service, where you would pay for outgoing calls. But you only got like 15 outgoing calls locally a month. And past that, you had to pay because you were gambling on, I don't use the phone, so it was super cheap. Our good friend Rumpled Trenchcoat says, we just record on Skype, then I edit audio in Odyssey and the video on DaVinci. Okay. So you hook yourself up to Skype and then you record to Odyssey? I didn't know Skype would record. Maybe it does, and I just never knew. I've never used it for that. I used to have something called Audio Hijack, which is, I think, a big Mac thing from Rogue Amoeba, and I don't have that anymore. Now, if I wanted to record something, I would do it via Odyssey if I was still doing a podcast, which isn't live. Now I do this show, so I just produce the show live, and it does it that way. I suppose if I was going to do a podcast now, I would just do an unlisted StreamYard and record it that way. But I have a Macintosh. Macintosh does not have what they call pass-through. And pass-through is what you have on a Windows computer. It allows the audio to pass through the computer and you can capture it. Mac doesn't have that. So you have to get a secondary piece of software that does stuff, and I have one, and it's wonderful. It's called Loopback. I can control everything with it, which is kind of cool to have one console. When I was using OBS, all this stuff was a lot more complicated. That's why I haven't gone to Streamlabs, is that it's an OBS interface. OBS is really powerful, but it's really cumbersome. Rumpled Trenchcoat says, Skype has a simple record function. It didn't always, just in the past few years. I didn't know that. Where the heck is it? Where are you? Oh, yeah, let me just ask my good friend AI. Because AI will tell me anything. Let me see. How do I... Whoops. I type so fast. How do I record calls on Skype? Boom, shakalaka. Record a Skype, start a call using and click the more button, the three dots in the window, and start recording. A banner will appear notifying everyone the call. Well, okay. If that's what you're saying, let me just check that out real quick. Mine doesn't do that. Maybe I need to be in the calls section. Okay. Now let's see. Mine doesn't do that. Thanks AI. Really, AI is on the Oh, I think you need to be on an active call. I got you. Well, the AI didn't say that. AI didn't mention that. Initiate your calls as you normally would. During the call. Okay, during the call. I get you. I think that I need to be on an active call. AI is a dope. It's a real mook. Look, there's things AI is amazing at. I'm not saying there's not. I really am not. But the thing that's kind of sticking in my craw, I mentioned it on the show last night, and it just bugs me because I was in a great mood yesterday. I was laying down in my boudoir watching television, and a guy calls me. And this guy is a nice guy. He's not a bad guy necessarily. I mean, well, let's just say he's a nice guy. Anyway, so I had seen an article that he had written on LinkedIn about how explosively creative AI was going to make creative people. And I mean, I was a creative director. I work in a creative industry where you create things. And that's different than being creative at something. You can be creative at accounting. You can be creative at digging holes in the ground. You can be creative. My field is called creative. All right? That's what it's called. So I'm going to actually try and find this article because I don't want to misquote anything. And I hate to do that because not AI, but LinkedIn is going to tell him that I went to his page. But he's super proud of this article, I could tell. And let's see here if he uses. There we go. There we go. He's a really great guy. He's always got, these amazing plans. Unleashing the future, how AI fuels creativity and innovation to transform industries, why it matters to me. It does not fuel creativity. It doesn't. It just doesn't. And then responsible adoption isn't optional. Yes, it is. It so is. And this is my objection to AI. I'm glad that he wrote that because there's these people that, and by the way, Terry, he says, AI sent me here. We'll see how faulty it is. Rumple Trenchcoat says, my 2 cents is that AI can be amazing for this and that don't require creative thinking like art or music. Yes, because all it does is steal to create art or music or writing. It's terrible at writing. It does create a certain type of art, but you've seen that kind of art it creates. That's like a 3-dimensional comic book kind of look that it does for everything. And it just all looks the same. And it's stealing to do that. It's taking other people's work and converting it to do that. And that's not cool. It's not. And with writing and with searching and with things like that, there's big companies that have filed suit against the AI companies, like New York Times and stuff going, we do all the research. We do all the critical thinking. And then you just swoop in and use it like it's yours and you don't even copyright it. So this notion on the part of technical people that this isn't optional. This is it. This is the way of the future. You have no choice. No, I'm a human being. We have choices. That serves me. I do not serve it. And the cart is already in front of the horse with AI. It already is. It has always been a struggle in creative communications, professional corporate communication, even retail advertising, and to a certain extent in entertainment, that the people that run those businesses don't always know, like big, ABC, NBC, CBS, Disney, Sony, they don't always know what's good. They didn't get in those positions by knowing and being able to tell what a quality program is going to be. They couldn't produce one if their life depended on it. Even at the radio station that I worked at most recently, the guy who was sort of the head of the place, he was a suit. At the end of the day, he would lash the whip to get the best product available. But that wasn't his main concern. If he really wanted the best, but see, people that know what they're doing say, we need, the number one thing we need to do is create the best product. The thing that people flock to. That's where the money is. But when you work for a giant corporation like that, it's like, look, we've got this many stations. We're going to get a certain segment of the audience no matter what. And therefore the product, So we can get lesser talented people for lesser money and all that kind of stuff. So with AI, there are a ton of people out there, a ton, who don't know the difference between a blog article that's been written by AI and a human being. Now, when you go to market, I can prove over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Here's one I wrote, because I A/B test all of this stuff. I know you guys think I'm just a pretty face. I'm not. I A/B test this stuff. Here's the article I wrote. Here's the article AI wrote. Would you like to look at the metrics? Not only do I perform them times 4 on share and engagement, I outperform them times 3 on actual conversions, on people buying the product. And that's why we're here. If your supposition is I don't have to pay AI any money, and I can just pay somebody a half of what I'm paying you, you're losing money if you get rid of me and just use AI. And you're losing money badly. AI cannot persuade. I can persuade. All right? I'm a human. I can pull at the heartstrings. I can make a logical appeal. I can talk to you in a way that persuades you. AI can't do that. I can look at a piece of copy and tell whether AI wrote it. That's pretty bad. Now, I can look at a piece of copy. If I know 4 writers that work for me, I can look at a piece of copy and say, I know who wrote this. Why? Because I've been doing this a while. Oh, yeah, this guy inverts his sentences. All right, whatever it is. But let's see here. I will not be pushed, filed, stamped, indexed, briefed, debrief, or number by AI. All right, that's going to require me to, where do I want to go for this? There's one of 2 places it can be. It could be here. Let's see if I've got it here. I don't think I did the smart thing. And when I made my opening video, I thought to myself, I should put all these images in one place so that later on, if I need them, I'll have them in one spot. And then I think I said to myself, nah, just go ahead and pull them for wherever you can find them. But I know where to find it. Don't kid yourself. Like I said, I'm not just a pretty face. I know you guys think I am, but I'm not just a pretty face. I'm not just a, pretty face over here. Well, let me get rid of that for a second. Let me get that back up there in case anything happens. But that's my, number one, it sticks in my craw that we're just, not just in what I do, but in so many things, the push is AI. We got to get AI involved. Oh, man, we got to use AI. If we're not using AI, we're missing out. We're losing. AI scrapes from the internet. It only does what it's told. It's never going to innovate. it might innovate in certain sorts of like chemical formulations or things, but we can already write programs that do that, that keep trying combinations. We've been able to do that for a long time. It's just, we need to just tap the brakes, slow down a little bit. Here's the other thing. I'm a big fan of the human race. I happen to be a human. I know. And the thing is, I don't need AI to do the things that I want to do. Okay? I don't need that. I just don't need it. What's Jesse P.S. saying about AI? I can't tell by what he's if he's pro or con. Let's see here. I can't tell by what he's, AI also sort of elevates people that are not creative at all into thinking they're creative, but I won't get into that. I assume at some point AI will be better used by some people than others, and that might, relate to a higher degree of creativity. I'm not saying that. I'm not a complete moron, I'm not stupid. There we go. Come on. All right. But man, oh man, we need to tap the brakes a little bit. Just a little bit. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying, kids. Can we just tap the brakes a little bit? I don't need AI to do the things I want to do. The things I want to do I need it to take out my trash. I need it to come up with a newer, better, cheaper dishwashing liquid. And by the way, I don't see AI making things cheaper for me. I see AI making cheaper for corporations. Yeah, that I see. But it hasn't really trickled down to me. Unless you want to say that well, wait a minute. Now you don't have to get a photographer. Now you don't. Okay, making it crappier, of course it's going to be cheaper. I'm talking about making it better and cheaper. That's what we should be shooting for. That Star Trek level, Whoops. I just shot myself in the foot there. I'm doing a little magic here for my good friend Rumpled Trenchcoat. Well, not magic. When I say magic, I mean I'm finding something that I should already have stored. Let's see here. Gosh dang it. There. Now mess with me. All right, here we go. Yeah, we just... But in what I do right now, writing for communications, AI is putting people out of work at a rate you would not believe. You just wouldn't believe it. Because once everything went digital, quality didn't matter quite so much. You're only writing 140 characters or 400 words, and everything was like, well, we got to be search engine optimized. All right, if I have a company or a business, I can make it do a Google search that's locality specific. So I can say, if I want a hospital, look for a hospital near me. At that point, why do you need to be search engine optimized? You need to be Google search optimized is what you need to be paid Google search, not the other thing. Because anybody who pays is going to show up ahead of you anyway. That's just the law of the jungle. And so anyway, I'm on my soapbox here a little bit, but There he is. I will not be pushed, filed, stamped, indexed, briefed, debriefed, or numbered by AI. AI, I have a feeling, is the thing that's keeping me from being able to use little sound clips and stuff. Oh, let's see here. Rumpel says, we need to do AI to do things we don't want to do. Let people do the fun stuff or just the stuff that we want to do. Even on a whim, you know. But it's coming for my job. I don't care what you do. It's coming for your job. It just is. So, Skynet, yeah, I can see it. But it doesn't work. It's not as effective, and that's when you get into this thing that we're in, and we've been in for a while, called there's a guy that's making decisions that says, I'd rather spend $1 to make $2 than I would spend $2 to make $5. That's the difference. It's this cheaper is better always mentality. Always. Effectiveness, efficiency, what you reap from your efforts, that's way out the window. That's the last thing. And it's like, no, that should be the first thing. How do we maximize what we're doing? You know, if it's just cheaper, people will jump ship on cheaper fast. Remember Dell computers? I do. Remember Compaq? If your messages were cheaper, man, oh man, you're get ready, man. Get ready. Store brand's gonna come along and put you out of business. Yeah, Terry Nee, Salesforce has decimated sales position. Yeah. Well, now let's just make those contacts via email and get them in the sales funnel. And, you know, tell you a little story about that, Terry Nee, about cheapness. When the federal government deregulated radio and television, you used to be able to, only a company used to be only able to own one AM radio station, one FM radio station, and one TV station in a market. That's all, just one. Now they can own them all. So now instead of, let's say, even a little town like Muncie, Indiana, there were 20 radio stations in that market. You had 20 sales staffs. Okay, maybe there was some AM, FMs in there. So let's say you had, well, let's just go crazy and say you had 10 sales staffs. Now one station owns all but 2 or 3, and they have one sales staff. So bye-bye everybody's jobs. Cheaper's better. Oh, by the way, have you listened to the radio lately? Disc jockeys don't even sit in front of a microphone for 4 hours anymore. They have voice tracking. So somebody like me would come in and say, 11 minutes out to the hour of 4 o'clock coming up, we've got Steve Winwood with the finer things, a double shot of Aerosmith, and then Steve Miller Band's going to tell you about the Joker. We'll be right back, right here on News Radio 1080 KRLD. I wouldn't say that. I'd be the place for Muncie's best music, KZ 105. Record it, put it in the computer, do the next break. You're there for 20 minutes, and you get paid accordingly. What do you do with the rest of your time? Well, hopefully you're hosting a podcast or making personal appearances. But yes, Salesforce has, when you get things like Salesforce, which is pretty much ubiquitous now, it's everywhere, it alters the process of sales. It alters the relationships. It alters everything. And it's not always good. It's like when Microsoft Words got grammar checking. You know, there's words in the language now we don't use anymore because of Grammarly and Microsoft Word. They just decided using that instead of which. There's a difference between when you use that and which. I want the one that. I want the one which. Okay? It has to do with classification of items. Not anymore. They just decided to change the language. I got a problem with that. Got a problem with that. Gateway, yes, Terry Nee, the cow imprints on the side of the box. Who's bought from Gateway lately? Anybody? 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 By the way, the thing that we're talking about, Terry, and Gateway and everything else, that means the biggest company will always win because it will always be able to make the product cheaper than anyone else. Is that bad? Is that good? I don't know. But it's important that people way smarter than me look at stuff like that and that are able to forecast what's this going to do to this industry. I guess probably issues like this have happened throughout since the beginning of time, maybe at a slower rate. Well, obviously at a slower rate, but Rumpled Trenchcoat says a modern version of Pennywise, pound foolish. It's totally dead on as usual, Rumpled Trenchcoat. So, why is radio dying? Why are podcasts and live streams killing it? Hold on. I'll tell you why. Because nobody at a radio station has the imagination or just the obviousness to put programming on that is like live stream program without the profanity. Of course, you can't do that on the broadcast. Actually, technically you can. Nobody wants to take the chance. You just have to do it at the proper time of night and whatnot. But instead, they try to create their own podcast, which are just as lame. Do you think the people that are doing the lame programming during the day are going to come up with some hot programming for a podcast at that same place? No, they're not going to. They're not going to. If radio stations were smart, they'd have 25 podcasts, and their online would be sort of the best of. Maybe not recorded, maybe live, but they would be doing a lot of things a lot closer to what people want. That's what they'd be doing. If you had the most talented people, the ones we really like. Stern was doing it a long time ago. The day after America's Got Talent or The Voice or American Idol, he'd be talking about it because nobody else was. The podcasting wasn't that deep yet. And that's what it would be. That's what sports radio, there's only a couple kinds of radio that are still kind of popular. And one of them is sports. In some towns, news is. But sports is because it has new news every day, every single day. And those podcasts, unless you interview some big star, those are like my old show used to be. They decay very quickly. In other words, you listen that day and then you wouldn't listen the following day because there's new stuff to talk about. That's why I do the show the way that I do it now on these topics and man, this show is really taking it in the shorts lately. It really is in terms of viewers and all that. We were doing a nice little progression there for a while. It's really in the, from every metric. Except for one. But from views and all the other things, certainly from revenue, God almighty, is it a bloodbath. But we do have one metric that we've always been very strong in, really strong. And it's actually a smaller sample size makes sense that we'd be doing better. And that's average length of listen. The average length of listen on this show has always been like through the roof. It's like, okay, not many people like it, but the ones who do listen for a long time. And that also factors in the people that go, what's this? Click. Ooh, God. And, you know, because somebody listens to the whole show 100% and somebody only listens to 1 second, the average is now 50%. So we're doing good with that. Let's see here. Terry Neese says, do radio stations have the freedom to do that? Unions and such. Yes. There are radio stations that require you to be part of a union. Predominantly, those are in Los Angeles and New York. I don't know, maybe Chicago does as well. There was a station in Los Angeles before I moved here back to Dallas. If I had moved from Utah to Dallas 1 day later, I wouldn't have moved. I'd have moved to Los Angeles and been on the biggest news station there. It's a sad, sad story. The #1 rated in Los Angeles. I applied for a gig out there. It was a long process. I had to do, oh God, if I played for you the audition that I did, I mean, man, did they make me read fast. I sent them my demo and from here in Dallas. And man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Wait a minute. Come on now. I should have way more than that. That's not right. That ain't right. What's the deal? Oh, brother. I guess the point of it is, no, that's it. Why am I not pulling that up? Why ain't that being shown to me? Something ain't right here. Something ain't right. I couldn't have gotten rid of that. I'm going to try and play this for you because, man, I am telling you, this sucker is... it's 2020. Oh, here we go. Is this the last one? Let's see if this is it. They had me reading so fast, but at this station, I would have been required to join the union, the union for SAG-AFTRA, Screen Actors Guild. AFTRA is the American Federation of Radio and Television Artists, and that's just because it's a Hollywood town. I think this is probably it. I can't imagine I did another one. Let's see here. No, I'm pretty sure this is it. Man, did they have me reading fast. And it was a one-take read. I recorded it, but I did it live for them because they didn't want anybody to be able to sit and do it over and over and over and over again or anything like that. And so in those areas, and by the way, joining the union costs you $3,000. They have a thing where SAG-AFTRA will loan you the money, and then it comes out of your paycheck until they're paid back a certain amount. But $3,000, and you're moving your radio station isn't going to move you. Not somebody like me, anyway. They're not going to move you. You're moving yourself. So what had happened was I didn't hear back from them for a certain period of time, and I just figured they're getting ghosted like everybody else. The guy out there is really cool, by the way. Super cool guy. And my stuff literally had been shipped for 2 or 3 hours when I got contacted by him. And I said, man, I just shipped all my stuff to Dallas. And had I not, I would have said, okay, I'm coming. But shipping it to Dallas from the middle of nowhere in Utah, very expensive. And then, shipping it from Utah to LA would have been bad enough. I might have even, moved it myself. But it's a little easier drive from that direction than it is the other. Oh man. It just was like, man, it was be like another $10,000 to move all that stuff on my dime. I just wasn't willing to roll that dice. And I had made the decision in my noggin, my brain, my tiny Tom Gulley Show size brain, that I'm moving back to Dallas. I mean, hopefully I don't blast you out here. Listen to how fast I had to read. A day to remember. I'm Tom Gulley, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Fire stations around Southern California are holding memorial. No, this isn't it. Oh, here, I'll find it. This isn't it. It's not nearly fast enough. Not nearly fast enough. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find it. 12. Oh, yeah, here it is. This is the one. This is the one, righty. I get you the one. Man, listen to that. You heard that speed? This is because I sent that to them, and they said, well, we need something far more high energy. So check this out. A day to remember. I'm Tom Gulley, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Fire stations around Southern California are holding memorials and tributes to mark 17 years since 9/11. Los Angeles will hold its annual ceremony at the Frank Hodgkin Memorial Training Center, where a beam from the Twin Towers is on display. After the ceremony, officials and volunteers will pack food for the needy to honor the day with good deeds. All Orange County Fire Authority stations will hold remembrance events, and in Murrieta, police and firefighters will do their traditional 5-mile tribute run this morning, wearing heavy tactical gear. Hurricane Florence is churning over the Atlantic at Category 4 strength and moving toward the East Coast. Hurricane and storm surge watches have been issued along the entire coast of North Carolina and most of South Carolina. Virginia is also expecting a strong impact. Shoppers in Nags Head, North Carolina have been stocking up. Florence expected to reach land Thursday and become the strongest storm to hit North Carolina since the 50s. Fire departments in SoCal are sending crew members into the path of the hurricane. The Orange County Fire Authority says it's sending swiftwater rescuers. I think you get the drift. Man, that is flying. That is flying. Okay, a little peek behind the curtain there. All right, let's see here. So I would have had to join the union for that, and I'm sure there's certain parameters of what to do, what not, how many hours you can work, how many hours they can't work, because it is a union. But I don't know that would have affected pay scale per se. I will say this: the union pay scale was much higher than what I was paid here in Dallas-Fort Worth. And the fact that you're on a station that's not just the number one news station in the number two market, arguably the number one market, given, the amount of time people spend in transit. That station is in the number. Here in Dallas, I don't know where the number one news station ranks in all the stations, but that station is in the top 2 or 3 of all the stations. Let me see here. Dallas, Fort Worth radio ratings. Here we go. Ratings. Let's just look at the latest Nielsen audio ratings. So the number one rated station, and this is a little misleading because it's like all people. It's not 18 and above. It's not 25 to 35. It's all people. And it's 6 a.m. to midnight, right? The number one station is a sports station here in Dallas. Let's see the number one news station, or even news talk. Okay, the biggest news talk station. 1, 2, 3. Come on, you piece of junk with all your accept. Come on. I just screwed it up. Let's see here. Come on, you piece of junk. You trash. You Nolan trash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26th. 26th. The station that I was on, although a big giant one, was 27, 28, 29, several behind that. But they have a giant tower, so it gets out of the DMA, it gets out of the market. But still, I think you know what I'm trying to say, right? Right? So let's look at Los Angeles. Los Angeles, California. Uh-oh. Rumpled says he's got to go. Doggone it. He's got to go. Glad he caught what he could. See you next time. Rumpled, man, thank you so much for always giving us support, dude. I so appreciate it. I so appreciate it. I put your show on for my door. It squeaks if I don't. Los Angeles, just to give you a comparison, I know you guys probably don't care about this stuff, but Los Angeles, California. Come on now. Los Angeles, California. All right. The number one station is an AC, adult contemporary station. And then you get your classic hits station. There's hot AC. So it's basically oldies and adult contemporary. CHR. And then number 5 is a news station. And that varies. It bounces up and down and up and down. And yeah. So the news, where's the highest sports rated station in LA? It's a different kind of town, I guess. Highest sports rated station is, it's way down the list. It's got to be at least 20th. I guess just different kind of town. Different kind of town. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, boy. Oh, man. Oh, wow. I didn't realize this. Back in November, that is insane. iHeartMedia, which used to be Cumulus, wow. This really cool guy that I dealt with there got let go along with 17 of the 25 people at that station. If that doesn't tell you how bad radio is doing, and this is a top performing station in the market, it's just that it's people intensive. It's people intensive. So there's a lot of overhead, but it makes a ton of money. I mean, it's like KFI parent company, iHeartMedia is cutting hundreds of jobs across the U.S. to help curb debt, of which the company is around $5.21 billion in total. Man, job cuts would help this company save $150 million by eliminating redundancies. What we're not doing is getting rid of air talent, said Bob Pittman, the head of the whole thing. Because we've got technology, we can take talent we have in any location and put them on air in another location. So we can substantially upgrade the quality of our talent in every single market we're in. There's not a slot for everybody. Just because talent was willing to live in the market doesn't make they're the best person for that slot. That's insanity. Radio stations are local. They are local. You get the signal locally. If you quit doing, that's why ESPN radio has never worked. Mike and Mike and all that stuff. The stations that have ESPN radio are required to take that programming. They wouldn't have it on if they weren't required. People want local information. If you're not in a local city, I know iHeart has a tower here in Dallas where there's a dude, because I've been offered to be one of these dudes many times. There's people that do traffic and there's people that do news. And like if I was working there, I'd have, maybe I'd get Dallas, but then I'd also get Phoenix, and I'd also get Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I'd also get Birmingham, Alabama. And I would do a 5-minute news report for each of those 4 markets every hour. Might record it. Just record it, put it on the computer, and then they can play it. And the next hour, do another one. I don't live there. Nobody there knows me. I can't talk to that guy at a city council meeting. I can't walk up to him with a microphone and say, tell me about this, tell me about that. You think that makes it better? I got to get a hold of that guy. Terry is funny. Do they have a Micro Machines commercial? You mean with Paul? I worked with this guy. Paul, the guy that did the Federal Express commercials. Hello, Pete. May I call you Peter? Paul Macheda. Macheda was his name. I hired him for a big award show. Wonderful man. Rumpled Trenchcoat says, shoot, gotta go. Daggone it. iHeart was hot for a moment. Well, all these companies went out and they bought all these radio stations so they could own them in all these markets, right? So they went out and bought 10 radio stations in Dallas, Fort Worth. They bought 10 radio stations in LA. They bought 10 radio stations, and they ain't cheap. And they incurred all this debt, and they didn't for one second think about how they were going to pay it back. So then they got themselves in a bind trying to pay all that back. And what do? They make a crappier quality product that nobody wants to pay for because nobody's listening. Now what do? Well, let's just get rid of all of our employees and do all of our programming and have one radio staff do the whole country. Do you think the people I remember when I was a kid, I'd go to the record store and there was a sign above the records that said, here's what the top 10 songs are. New York, LA, Philadelphia, Chicago, Boston. And yes, our town was on there too. They weren't the same top 10 songs, folks. Do you think they want to hear a generic DJ? You know, when Purdue loses to Houston in the Elite Eight or the Sweet 16, do you think they don't want to hear, hey, the Boilermakers took a tough one on the chin last night, hey, but they're still winners to us. There's Queen. We are the champion. That's what they want. They don't want, generic, whatever, poppycock. I'm on my soapbox here. I'm glad this is members only, by the way. It's very subversive. Very subversive information. It can get me in trouble in a lot of ways, a lot of places. But it's the truth. And it just, this isn't the only industry this has happened in. What's happened to my buddy? Oh, maybe he just said forget it and retired. Man, oh man, oh man. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. It's just not fun at all. Just not fun. I just thought the internet and all these other things, they were going to make us all like Star Trek, infinite, what is it? Infinite diversity and infinite combinations. And it was going to be all of this stuff. I just, sorry, I'm writing this guy a note. I'll see. I'm sorry. Sorry, folks. I'm being a kind human. Anyway, that sticks in my craw, and I mean hard. So, community is dying or dead. Community? What do you mean by that, Terry? I think I'm going to agree with you, just because it has the word dying or dead in it. You know what a fan I am of dying or dead. But yeah, it's just, I know that the generation before mine didn't feel this way about everything. They felt this way about some things, but the foundations, I'm not saying a local community. Yeah, local community. That's very, very true. That was the thing about radio. I mean, now you think in a small town, a radio station would have 100% local programming, and it doesn't. If you're lucky to have 2 or 3 hours of local programming, the rest of it is all syndicated stuff. And it's the same with restaurants and everything else. It's the big chains come in, the mom and tops get squeezed out, Walmart comes in. Now there's no local butcher shop. Do you know how hard it is, even in a city, a big one, DFW? Like I live in, it's not even a city, it's a metroplex, to find the butcher shop, the good butcher shop with the quality aged meat and the specialist, the guy that, Costco, Walmart, they just came in and just whack. It's no. See, I will pay more. I want the good stuff. You don't have any of the good stuff? Well, we got what it's here, Mac. If you don't... I was at Walmart Saturday morning doing my normal shopping, and I got to tell you, there's a guy there. Most of the people there don't speak to you. They don't look at you. They've got their earphones in their ear pods. I get there so early that they're still taking stuff off pallets and that's fine. And I'm cruising through. I'm doing my thing because I like to do my thing. And it's so funny. There's a guy there that does say hi all the time. and is really friendly, and I worship this guy. I don't always run into him, but when I do, he's like, "Good morning, sir. How you doing?" And I'm like, here's a guy that gets it. He actually gets it. And so I was going down a certain frozen food aisle. I'm a big fan of really cheap frozen pizza. And so I'm going down this aisle, and usually while I do, I will look and see if something's on sale or if there's something I've never tried before. So I always have a list. As you guys know, I enjoy having a list, right? So I do, though, sometimes go rogue. I go a little off-road. And I'm going through, I'm looking to see, because sometimes there's a tempting taste treat that's on sale or that I've never seen before. Hold on just a second. And I'll go, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. And I give it a shot. And I'm sorry, this is just funny to me. And so this guy sees me, and I'm just looking around. I'm just checking to see, because there might be cheese, mushroom, garlic, and salt flavored breaded cubes or something that I would really like. And I just invented that. Somebody go out there and make those. We'll split the profit. And this guy goes, "Hey, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?" And I said, and I did say this thing I always do. My dad always said this, and now I say it, which is, "I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?" That "how about yourself," that is a Gulley family tradition, okay? And I encourage you, please, take part. Go ahead, use it yourself. "I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?" "I'm doing all right." And then he saw me looking around and he goes, "Well, if you don't see it, we don't have it." And I said, "Well, that's true of anything in the world, isn't it?" And he got a big chuckle out of that. And I said, "No, that's pretty much the case these days in business. If you don't see it, if it's not on the rail, it's not for sale." So, and that's the way it's become a little bit. But that's always been kind of the case. Certain places have certain things. What I hate is that I have always been a person that's on like this statistical deviation. I'm always a guy, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a certain kind of food or snack or whatever, I'm the one that's in the fringe. The shows I like end up becoming cult favorites. The movies I like end up becoming cult favorites. The snacks I like, people are always like, remember when they had that, the Monterey burger over there at Whataburger? Monterey cheese, the green red peppers. I'm the guy that likes the sandwich they only bring back for 3 weeks out of the year. The Mac Jr. You know what that was? Or is? And I don't know, why don't they sell this all year? Okay, so it's like a quarter pounder sized burger. It might be just slightly less big, but it's got the Big Mac dressing and lettuce on it. It's not 2 patties, but it's just the one. Oh my God. It's the greatest thing ever. Why don't they have this, Wow, this show has really gone off the rails. Terry Nee wasn't here earlier when the guy that had called in yesterday, he called. Sometimes when I open up my phone software, I'll see that someone has called when we're not on the air. And if we're not on the air, it's not open. So I said, I'm going to just call this guy back. And I did. And this wonderful dude out of the Pacific Northwest went on and on and on and on about our show on Lenny Bruce. And by the way, from a performance standpoint, I do a terrible job on this show. I should do a much better job. I don't have time to prep, really, all that much. And so when I'm doing the show, there's some shows I do pretty well. I do okay. But most of them are nowhere near where I want them. But he was so complimentary about the amount that I knew about Lenny Bruce, my take on Lenny Bruce. And I don't care if it was wrong, and I don't care if it sucked, frankly. The fact that he liked it, I can live a long time on a compliment like that. And I better, because no one watches this show. Thanks, sports fans. Anyway, there you go. Is anybody listening to this right now? If so, just say so in the chat. Otherwise, I'm ending it. It's members only, folks. You paid for a membership. I feel like you ought to get something for your money. And if anybody wants to hear any of these radical, unpopular things that I'm saying that would reflect poorly on me professionally, because you don't want to be a rabble rouser. That's the last thing you want to be. Then they got to pay $2.99, which really is not worth the trade-off for me. And let's just say professionally, I'm a, hey man, whatever you need guy. I'm not saying I'm Norma Ray, starting to strike at the sand factory. I don't work in terrestrial radio anymore, so I can comment on that. But if I'm working for a company, I'm a company, I owe my soul to the company store. I'm a follow the rules down the line, what's best for the company kind of guy. I'm not, Terry Nee says he will risk humiliation to not miss out on meeting great people. Miss humiliation to not. So you will risk humiliation to meet really great people. You didn't have to do that middle part, man. Dude. I'm sensing Terry Nee was in sales. He's got the gift of gab. He's funny, smart. He said the thing about Salesforce. That's what I'm guessing. I'm just guessing that. I wonder if Scott Green is around. Let me call him. What is it in Australia right now? It's probably like 4 a.m. Let me see if he's around. I'm going to call him. Oh, he's not online. Poop. Well, I think I have another number for him. 1/10 a cent a minute on his mobile. Do I really want to do that? Nah. I don't want to do that. I'd rather tell him later that I took it easy on him. I hate boats. Why do you hate boats? I'm not necessarily against you on boats. By the way, let's vary up our background here a little bit. I think we've had enough hee-haw. Don't you? I think let's hip this thing up a little bit, shall we? Let's hip this thing up a little bit. There's people all over the world. Dun, dun. Let's get the prisoner Tom Gulley off the screen, by the way, and let's make this full screen. Why doesn't it just go to full screen? Why does it do that? Stop it. It forgets where you were the last setup. It didn't used to do that. It would default sales. Oh, sales. You hate boats. Sales. I get it. You hate sailboats. The ones that are marked down in price. Get it? I'm playing your game. See, right back to it. Anyway, I think it's just Terry Nee and me in here right now. Let's find out, shall we? Let's just go to our numbers. See what we got cooking here. Terry Nee, what do you think of the new opening? I thought my new it has been warmly received, but I thought it would get a lot more unsolicited positive commentary than it gets. I really did. It's not like hurtful or anything. It's just, well, I did all that work. I don't know if you people notice or not, but over the last couple months here, I've really spiff this thing up quite a bit. I've really spiffed up the show. Wow, Ball Jars has got like 85 views now. Okay, what do you know about that? Let me see here. What was I going to look at? Oh, today, the numbers of the current content that we have on the air. They're terrible, by the way. None of the members watch this at all. It's like I get like 20 views on these members-only shows. But I do them so that I feel better about, right now we have 11. Some other people will watch it later, and I'll get better numbers than that. But just like the regular shows. But these shows that I do now get trickles of views, so they constantly keep getting views. My old shows, it was like the second it's over, nobody's ever going to watch it again. The people will watch it live. Maybe a handful would watch it not live that day, and then nothing for the rest of time and more. Okay, so Ball Jars. Okay, and that's the other thing. The numbers that it shows on the web page are not, they get updated. They're not current. Ooh, Lenny Bruce. See, I like to get 100 views a show at least. And I haven't, Lint is almost there. Rocky Horror is over that amount. USA Up All Night is over that amount. Carnivorous Plants over that amount. George Carlin over. Okay, so we're not doing as bad as I thought. Huntsman Spider, Hoosiers, Ford Assassination, nothing, crickets. Overrated, underrated, always crickets. Burgers, okay, we're there. Inventing Color TV, almost there. Wild Wild West. Bigfoot, Lost in Space. See, we had a week there where we were way over 200 views. And I'm going, okay, it's picking up. It's picking up. And the previous week, Killdozer got like 113. Then Milgram Experiment, almost 300. Loch Ness Monster, over 200. Elliot Ness nearing 200. Cleveland Torso Murders, 160-ish. And I'm thinking, okay, it's starting to get a little, and we could have just stayed there and I'd have been happy. Kolchak, almost 200. Disco, over 300. I mean, we were doing, and now, wow, the last week or two, I guess that's not, but man, we just haven't cracked 100. I guess I'm complaining too much because it's doing what I said it would do. These are slowly creeping up over 100. I need to tap into, Pepe Silva, I didn't know you were here, my man. I did not know you were here. He's saluting. Thank you, Pepe. Good to see you. You make the show always more peppy. Bitlinks416 wants to add me, connect with me on Skype and add me to a group. I don't think I'm going to do that. Joel Devo and Jeff Badley. I just feel like if I accept that, it's going to hack my computer. No, you're not chopped liver. By the way, I've never had chopped liver. It doesn't sound good. It's okay to AI. It's okay to AI. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know what's going on here lately. I really don't. It's a poser because I have really super upgraded the show. Hey, there's the boatster. Happy to be here. What's love you love the show? I figured out what it means. Boat. There we go. The boatster, the boaterino, the boater, the boat boy, the boat ski, El Comrade Boatov, Boatmeister Grand General, Uber Grappenboater. Yeah. So I need to reach an audience of people that are really smart, that don't want to hear the same thing every night, and that have a very, very low bar for the quality of host. Now, there's 2.4 billion people on YouTube. let's just say half of those people are English speaking. That's 1.2 billion. I only need like 1,200 of those people, which is 10% of 1.2 billion is 120 million, right? And 10% of that is 1.2 million. So that's like 1%. If I just had 1%, and then 10% of that is 120,000. 10% of, I need 1/1000th of a percent. Even less, actually, of the total audience, but I'm just assuming not everybody speaks English. 1/1000th of a percent. Come on, man. Come on, man. I need 0.005% of a percent of the total audience. That's all I need. And then I'm good. Hey, Bout, did you see Jesse's post on AI? Which I don't know if I buy it or not because I haven't thought about it. But it was a Twitter posting that he made about AI is, Photoshop is basically AI. I don't buy that. Let's see here. Oh, Twitter. Let me tell you what it said in case you didn't see it. In case you didn't see it. In case it was unseen. It's one of those unseen things. I didn't see the post, but I can confirm that Grok AI is insane with photo creation and editing. I'm not talking about that. That might be true, but I can tell what AI is. It might be good at those things, but whoops. That's the fan account. I'm just going to have to do Jesse. I forget what his, there he is. Pot Awful. And we follow each other, by the way, which I think is nice. I think it's very nice that we do that. What's with the Ethans? Okay, it says using synths and samples instead of instruments is basically AI music. Using Illustrator or Procreate instead of pencils and paint is basically AI art. Searching Google instead of books is basically AI knowledge. I don't know what he's trying to say there, but I don't think I agree with all that. I don't think I agree with that. Because AI music, you don't create. You actually, I'm not in favor of samples necessarily. But using a synth, if you use it on a computer, that's no different than using, a Moog organ or whatever, a regular synthesizer. Illustrator is just another tool. It's a computer version of pencils and paint. AI does the stuff for you. It's not the same thing. You're taking the human performance out of it. Searching Google instead of books is basically AI knowledge. I might be persuaded to agree with that. Maybe. Except Google is using, AI is using Google. I don't think AI, I need to know more. It just depends on what AI platform you're using, whether it's searching Google search for the information or whether it's searching the internet in general itself. But it's a bunch of semantics. Peppy says, I forgot to say something earlier, but I appreciate the follow on Twitter. Well, right back at you, cowboy. Right back at you. We aims to please. Jesse's Twitter page is really funny. We caught him. Caught somebody. Who did you catch? I don't know who you got. Let's see. Can 5 more people sign up for the pizza fund? Evil Ethans. I haven't been on Pod Awful for a long time. Maybe I'm banned. I don't know. Maybe I'm banned. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not. Maybe I'm persona non grata on Pod Awful now. Really don't know. I don't know if. Oh God, Bout. Yeah, Boat, you're not really helping your argument here, my man. You're not really helping your argument here. I want to put this on screen. You're just not helping your argument. Let's see. His Ethan crossovers have been pretty funny. They have been. He's had some really great content lately. I love Anime Tom. He also starts his show an hour earlier than mine to make sure and completely block out any chance of me getting incremental audience from the Pod Awful cult. And it's his audience. He has every right to do that. I support that. I will say this. Did anybody get back to him my thing about Anthony Cumia admitting what Jesse had said regarding being responsible for spawning all the terrible streaming shows that aren't even really shows? I'll call that Gulley Anime BSU. All right. Now, guys, look what Boat just made with, I'm assuming, one of the AI types of software platforms that there are out there. He talked about it last night. Well, he talked about it, but after he talked about it, Anthony Cumia actually admitted it after he talked about it. And I haven't been in a room with Jesse to be able to tell him this, so I've been sending word with members of the Pod Awful cult that are kind enough to come in here, and I don't know if he's gotten word. Look, I'm trying to always suck up to Jesse a little bit and prove that I am an ally in some form or fashion. Look, there's what Boat just did with anime. Now, for those of you who don't know, let me take this banner down real quickly here. For those of you who don't know, this is, I'll just give me full screen here. This is actually, so what's that? Grog or whatever? Grog, let's see, Boat. Grok AI. This is Grok AI. This is a conversion to anime of me standing next to this action. I thought he changed some of the, it messed with some of the, slightly messed with some of the text, but it's just converted it. It didn't mess with it. It didn't change it. It just converted it a little bit. But this is an anime of me, apparently, next to this sign at the David Letterman Communication and Media Building. So I guess I'd buy that to a certain. I mean, it animated me. I can't complain about that. It animated me. Now I wonder if I should. Boat, should I pull down the actual photo? Photo, and place it next to it? Maybe I'll do that on my show this week sometime if I'm not, My Wednesday show, I'm starting to think I'm not going to get that particular interview. And if I do, it's not going to be on Wednesday. And for various reasons, I have to be really nice about that. I can't. There are a lot of famous people, very famous people that I have blown off for an interview because they were problematic. I used to have kind of an association with the History Channel. And when I was doing my podcast, I had some of the bigwigs for the History Channel on there. And there was this one publicist that, man, she started getting real demanding that I give her the questions in advance and things of that nature. And that's not how we do it. That's not how we keep the conversation lively, you know? And at a certain point, I just went, you know what? That's okay. Do you think that the book publisher that I sort of got hooked up with you via isn't going to have their authors on my show? Because my podcast was actually kind of popular. And no, that book publisher will continue to hook me up with those authors or different ones. And I'm very happy about that. I need to get more interviews on the show anyway. I'm pretty sure our good friend Ed Robertson and I are going to get together again soon. And he's talked about having me on his show, which I think is a mistake on his part. But it's a bad mistake. But he's a good guy. He's a good guy. All right, kids. Boat, so glad to see you here. Boat, I hope you've done that thing that you enjoy doing today in a good way. I've got to cut. I mean, I have got to immediately after this show get the old haircut. Gotta. Because if I don't, I'll put it off. I don't want to put it off. But man, I appreciate all 4 of you that have been here. Peppy, thank you for being here. Terry Neese, certainly. Rumpled Trenchcoat, yes. And of course, Boat. Thank you guys for being here and participating in the chat. It's the guy from the Pacific Northwest whose name I didn't get. I didn't want to be creepy and ask him because I just called him back while I was on the air. Thank you for all of your comments. If you go listen to the very beginning of the show, thank you for all the comments on our Lenny Bruce show. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for people that are into a topic, one of these subjects that we do, and I have proven I will do one on anything on earth. I want them to say, man, I really enjoyed listening to that. So anyway, Boat is just about to do that thing. It's going to do that thing you do, that we all do. Eventually, if we eat solid food. Peppy says, very much enjoyed the show. Thank you, Peppy. I don't know why, because it's been pretty rambling. I didn't anticipate doing a 2-hour show, but I guess I did one. And I just sometimes feel like I don't really have any topics that... You know what I mean? I do all the topics during the week, but I strongly feel I didn't want to have memberships. Everyone clamored for them. So I said, okay, I'll have memberships. And now I feel like I really owe it to the members to do something for them. And I don't know what to do. So I get on here and we just have behind the curtain talk, I guess. And I get to espouse these silly ideas of mine that I would never talk about in public. Not because they're bad, but it's just, you know, sometimes the anarchist nature of not liking radio companies, the other corporations going, I don't know. He said bad things. I'm not saying bad things. I'm just, it's dying, and it doesn't have to die. It just doesn't. Doesn't. I interviewed AI the other day, and AI itself maintained that humans will always have an edge in originality, and that it basically was mimicking and things of that nature. So, you know, I'm just saying, when you apply imagination, good things happen. And when you start to exclude that from processes and humanity from processes, that's not going to be good. Albert Einstein said, creativity is more important than knowledge. I'm pretty sure he said that. My sister got me a T-shirt that said that. And I kind of I'm like, it's kind of a imagination, he said, is more important than knowledge. And so she got me that shirt, and I was like, are you calling me stupid? Stupid? Is that what? Which she has the right to do, because she's smarter than me. So anyway, with all that being said, I'm looking at that old clock on the wall, and it says, like the Reverend Al Green, it's time for me to get on up out of here. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Which I guess means the only thing left to say is, till next time. Thank you, members. You're the best. You members are the best. Let's try and grow this little show. Please, can we try to grow the little show? Please, the little show that could. Till next time, we'll see you next time.
1, 2, 3, 4. They call me Mr. Gulley. I've got something for your ear. Now it might sound kind of funny, but I'll make it very clear. So what we talking about? We're talking about spiders, and we're talking about pervitin', and we're talking about Bigfoot. I'm here to tell you where he's been. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. They call me Mr. Gulley. I'm here to save the day. They call me Mr. Gulley, and I'm gonna lead the way. Here we go now. I'm talking about Mr. Gulley, and you don't know where he's been. Oh no, he's been right in your alley. Well, I'm Mr. Gulley, yes I am. So what we talking